Welcome to the Experience to Enterprise Academy. Hello, I am Advocate Anwar Shakeel Omar, founder of this academy, and it is my privilege to welcome you to this executive graduation program. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a consultant, an educator, a professional, or an experienced leader, you have joined this program for one common reason. You believe that experience has value. And you are right. But throughout this program, I invite you to see your experience in an entirely new way. Not merely as something you have lived through, but as one of your most valuable professional assets. This graduation program has been carefully designed as a learning journey. Each executive masterclass builds upon the one before it. Rather than offering isolated ideas, we will progressively develop a complete framework for transforming professional experience into meaningful contribution. Our journey follows 6 milestones. Throughout this graduation program, we will explore each of these milestones together. Some ideas may challenge familiar assumptions. Others may encourage you to see your own career from a different perspective. My invitation to you is simple. Approach each masterclass with curiosity. Reflect upon your own experiences and allow yourself the opportunity to discover value that may have been hidden in plain sight for many years. Because the journey you are beginning is not simply about learning something new. It is about recognizing something that has been within you all along. With that foundation established, let us begin our first executive masterclass, the hidden value of your experience. Experience is one of the world's most undervalued assets. Most educational institutions prepare us to begin our careers. Very few prepare us to understand the true value of everything our careers have taught us. That is why this academy exists. Here, we are not simply learning new information. We are learning to recognize, organize, and elevate the knowledge we already possess. Because every experienced professional carries within them a lifetime of insights, lessons, and wisdom that no textbook can fully capture. And yet, most of that wisdom remains hidden. Not because it lacks value, but because it has never been viewed through the right lens. There is a thought I would like you to carry with you throughout this graduation program. Every professional has 2 careers. The first is the career they are paid to perform. The second is the legacy they choose to build from everything the first career has taught them. The first career gives us experience. The second gives that experience a future. Our journey together is about building that second career. Not by starting over, but by discovering the extraordinary value that already exists within your professional journey. That is why our first module is called Think Like a Knowledge Entrepreneur. Notice that I did not say become a knowledge entrepreneur. Every meaningful transformation begins with thinking differently before acting differently. When your thinking changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your future begins to change. Today's masterclass is therefore not about business. It is not about technology. It is not about marketing. It is about perspective. Because the way you see your experience determines what it can eventually become. Let me begin with a simple question, one that deserves more reflection than an immediate answer. What is the most valuable professional asset you possess today? Some people would answer, my qualifications. Others might say, my designation, my network, my business, my investments. All of these certainly have value. But today, I invite you to consider another possibility. What if your greatest professional asset is something you have been building every working day of your life without ever giving it a name? Think about the challenges you have overcome, the difficult conversations you have navigated, the decisions you have made under pressure, the mistakes that taught you unforgettable lessons, the people you have guided, the systems you have improved, the judgment you have developed over years of responsibility. Collectively, these experiences have shaped the person you are today. Yet, very few people ever stop to ask, what is the true value of everything my experience has taught me? That question lies at the heart of this academy. Allow me to share a story. Imagine two experienced professionals. We'll call them Arun and Vikram. These are fictional names, but they represent a very real pattern. Both spent more than 25 years building successful careers. Both earned the respect of colleagues. Both solved the difficult problems. Both became trusted advisors within their organizations. From the outside, their careers looked almost identical. Yet, by the end of those 25 years, their professional journeys had taken very different directions. Why? Because of one simple habit. Every time Arun solved a difficult problem, he moved on to the next challenge. His experience remained in his memory. His knowledge stayed with him. People admired him because he always seemed to have the answers. But those answers existed only while he was present. Now consider Vikram. He also solved difficult problems. But after every important experience, he asked himself one question. What did this teach me that others could also learn? He began documenting his insights. He created simple frameworks. He identified recurring patterns. He captured lessons from both success and failure. Gradually, something remarkable happened. His experience stopped being merely personal. It became organized knowledge. Knowledge that could be explained. Knowledge that could be shared. Knowledge that could continue creating value beyond the projects on which it was originally gained. Now, let me ask you another question. Who was more experienced? Neither. Who was more intelligent? Again, neither. The difference was not ability. The difference was perspective. Arun collected experiences, while Vikram collected lessons. And over time, those lessons became one of his greatest professional assets. This story teaches us an important principle. Experience alone is valuable, but experience that is reflected upon, organized, and expressed as clear knowledge becomes something even more valuable. That distinction changes everything because while experience naturally accumulates with time, knowledge assets are intentionally created. And once they are created, they can continue creating value long after a particular meeting, project, or assignment has ended. I would like to introduce the first foundational framework of this academy. It is remarkably simple, yet it will guide everything we learn together. Experience teaches us. Reflection helps us understand what the experience truly means. Knowledge allows us to preserve those lessons. And knowledge, when shared wisely, creates impact. Without reflection, experience remains memory. With reflection, experience becomes wisdom. That is the first transformation every knowledge entrepreneur must make. Over the years, I have met hundreds of experienced professionals across different industries. One observation has remained remarkably consistent. Professionals rarely underestimate the effort they have invested in their careers. What they underestimate is the value of the wisdom that effort has created. My hope is that this academy helps you see your own professional journey differently, not simply as a history of employment, but as the gradual creation of knowledge that deserves to be recognized, preserved, and developed. That I believe is where every meaningful legacy begins. Throughout this masterclass, we have spoken about experience, we have spoken about reflection, and we have spoken about knowledge. But before we conclude, I would like to introduce one idea that will become the foundation of everything we learn throughout this graduation program. It is the idea of identity. Most professionals introduce themselves by their profession. I'm an engineer. I'm a doctor. I am a lawyer. I am a teacher. I am an entrepreneur. There is nothing wrong with these descriptions. They explain what we do, but they do not fully describe the value we create. This academy invites you to adopt a broader perspective, to see yourself not only as a professional, but as someone who creates, refines, and preserves knowledge through experience. That is what we mean by a knowledge entrepreneur. It is not a job title, it's a way of thinking. A knowledge entrepreneur understands that every project offers a lesson, every challenge reveals a principle, every success confirms a method, and every failure, if reflected upon honestly, becomes an investment in future wisdom. When you begin thinking this way, your daily work changes. Meetings become opportunities to observe patterns. Problems becomes opportunities to discover solutions worth preserving. Conversations become opportunities to learn. And experience gradually becomes something far more valuable than memory. It becomes intellectual capital. Many people spend their entire careers accumulating experience. Very few spend time accumulating insights. Experience grows naturally with the passing of time. Wisdom grows intentionally through reflection. That is why two professionals with the same number of years in a profession can create very different legacies. One remembers what happened, the other understands why it mattered. The difference is not experience, the difference is reflection. And reflection is the bridge between experience and knowledge. Over the years, I have often reflected on a simple observation. The world naturally rewards professionals for what they do, but history remembers people for what they contribute. As I developed the philosophy behind the Experience to Enterprise Academy, I became convinced that every experienced professional possesses knowledge that deserves to outlive their career. That conviction became the foundation of this institution. My invitation to you is simple. Do not allow your greatest professional lessons to remain hidden within your memory. Recognize them, organize them, preserve them, because one day they may become the wisdom that transforms someone else's life. Before moving to our next masterclass, I invite you to reflect on three questions, not to answer quickly, but thoughtfully. Question number one: what is one lesson your career has taught you that no university could have taught? Question number two: which professional challenge has shaped the way you think today? And question number three: if a young professional spent one day learning from you, what is the one idea you would want them to remember for the rest of their career? Write your reflections in your executive handbook. These questions may appear simple, but sometimes the simplest questions lead to the most profound discoveries. Every executive masterclass concludes with one idea I hope you will carry with you. Today's executive takeaway is this: experience becomes truly valuable when it is transformed into knowledge that can create value beyond the moment in which it was gained. I encourage you to revisit this thought often because it captures the very purpose of this academy. Today, we have discovered that experience is more than a record of the past. It is the beginning of something much greater. But another important question now arises. If experience is truly an asset, how do we recognize it? How do we organize it? How do we understand its true value? These questions lead us naturally to our next executive masterclass, Experience Capital. In that session, you will learn to view your professional experience as a portfolio of assets rather than simply a collection of memories. You will discover a practical framework for identifying the knowledge you already possess and understanding why it is one of the most valuable forms of capital you will ever own. It is one of the Academy's foundational concepts, and it will shape everything that follows. As we conclude this first Executive Masterclass, I invite you to begin observing your professional life through a different lens. Do not simply ask, "What did I accomplish today?" Instead, ask, "What did today teach me that is worth preserving?" If you make that question a daily habit, you will begin building a resource that grows in value throughout your professional life. Thank you for joining me in this first step of your journey through the Experience to Enterprise Academy. I'm Advocate Anwar Shakeel Omar, founder of Experience to Enterprise Academy. If you found value in today's session, please like, share this with a colleague, and subscribe to our channel. I look forward to welcoming you to our next Executive Masterclass. Until then, continue learning, continue reflecting, and continue discovering the hidden value of your experience. Thank you.